Hey you guys, welcome back to Angel Angela, and on today's topic we are going to be talking about, is the narcissist happier now, and my experience. So with the narcissist happiness, we believe that when they are gone, that they will be happy with this new supply, or that they have left us in bad situations, in shambles, bad relationships with others, finances, and just so many issues, trust issues, and just disappointment, because a lot of times narcissists promise you things. Narcissists make you feel as if you do everything that they want you to do, that somehow they're going to treat you good. I had times where the narcissist would say, if you acted different, then I wouldn't have to treat you like that. And right after that, it would be, oh, I didn't mean that. I was just saying that because I was angry. I just said that because I was mad because you made me mad. And I'm like, why did I make you mad? And it would just be like, oh, you know why you made me mad? And I'm like, no, I don't. Like, explain. So I say this to tell you guys that the narcissist mood is always up and down, up and down. Even when you, in the beginning stages, when you meet them, you will notice that they're love bombing you like crazy. With the narcissist that I was with, we went on a couple of dates. And like I said, they take you to, the same restaurants they've, taken other people, things like that. But obviously, when you meet them, you're not knowing this. You're just going into the relationship thinking, they're just like another person like any of us, we all, make mistakes. We all go through things. We all, we're not perfect. Even when you hear about marriages and divorces and cheating and things like that, we try to act like it's not a big deal. Like, oh, yeah, he's cheated a couple times. We're married, but that's in the past. We went to therapy and everything is good now. We want to believe these lies. Let's just be honest with each other. A lot of people make it seem like they're living these perfect lives. I know I don't really watch too much of, people vlogging and stuff like that, but a lot of people, just want the attention, and this is where you'll see narcissists together in these relationships, because they're both getting something out of it at the end of the day. So what we do is we compare our beliefs of what a relationship with another person of the opposite sex, or same sex to some people, I guess, which that's another topic. But if you don't have the capacity to do certain things to others, why would you tolerate that in return? If you can be faithful, if you can do certain things, it's not impossible for the person that you're with to do the same thing as well. But the thing is that the narcissist always comes with an agenda of what they are with you for, if they're gaining from it. And like I said, when I started dating the narcissist that I was with, and my experience was that when things started looking a little iffy to me, or I start seeing like little red flags, I was always the kind of person that was like, oh, I'm never gonna get played, like I'm just gonna be honest. I was like, I'm never gonna get played. Like, you guys are dumb. Like, I would really think when I would see my friends or people around me that would go through things like with like guys, I would be like, that's dumb. Like, that's retarded, like, live your life, be happy, forget him. I was always that friend that would try to cheer my friends up and tell them, hey, screw that. But I was like, I'm not taking any ish from guys. Like, that was my attitude. And even with my friend, like, my senior year, she started talking to like an older guy, and then found out like he wasn't older. He was like a couple years older, but I mean, he was like 22 and she was just like, she had just turned like 18. Like, we were graduating and I think she just had turned 18. So like, he was old enough to know like, hey, this girl's just getting out of high school. Like, why are you even fucking with a high school girl? Like, period, And he basically like tried playing her, and she found out about it because it's a very, very small world, you guys. It's a small world. Like, when you go to the Disneyland ride, it's a small world. Is that how the song goes? I think that's how it goes. I don't know, but it really is a small world, you guys. When you meet people, you'll always bump into them again, even if it's years later. So always remember that. So, like, to make long story short, like, when we found out, like, how he played her, and not only that, but he was, like, having a baby, I was like, let's go egg his car. Like, hell no. Like, let's go egg his car. And me and all my friends got in the car, and we were, like, packed in the car, and we drove by his house, because at the time I lived, like, in this, it was like I wouldn't say a farm, but I guess it was a farm because we had like all kind of crap, like horses and stuff. So I guess it was a farm. And we went to the chicken hut, and we like grabbed all the chickens, like eggs we could see, like we can get, and we put them in bags. So some of the eggs start cracking in the bag, but we had so many, and we just like smashed a whole bunch of them. And my friend was too scared to do it because she was like, I can't believe we're really doing this. And she's like grabbing onto the steering wheel and driving, and we're like 1 foot out, one leg in, still trying to throw stuff while the car is still rolling, and we're all running in the car. And like, it was just like I would always try to turn like heartbreak into something like get revenge, and like, let's get over it and let's keep moving on with life, and life is too beautiful. Like, let's enjoy each other, let's enjoy the moment, let's enjoy our friendships. So yeah, it's serious, you guys. Because that was like one of my closest friends, and at the time we were young, and we wanted to have fun. We were in the moment. But at the same time, my best friend was a virgin, and this guy took her virginity, and he was older, and he was already going to have a baby. And he's having unprotected sex with her, and he could have got her pregnant. And looking back now, I think to myself, like, wow, like, we did like some crazy stuff, but I kind of saved her from him, and a lot of times we go through situations with narcissists and people in our life, and we think that they're going to be happier, and that's why we don't want to let them go. But we have to understand that they're seasonal people, just like the people around us. I'm not friends with half those people anymore. Life goes on. And those memories stay with you, and they hit different, and they help you grow. And I had to be someone in her path at that time And I was a different person. I did something I would have never done, now. So that's how life works. And with narcissists, they don't change with time. They get worse with time. If you are not aware of these narcissists and how soul-sucking they are, you'll end up in really bad situations. Your whole life will go a 360. And I know that from experience, because I had to pick myself up without anyone around, because by the end, I didn't have anyone around. So that was my experience, being with a narcissist and seeing how narcissists work and see how they never change. And they do this for a very long time. They act like this in high school, and that young man, like, he has multiple kids by now. These type of guys have been like this, and they don't change. I know there's a lot of women narcissists, and I'm speaking on a woman's perspective, because women go through a lot. And if you are a good man, you will understand that women go through a lot in different countries. They're forced into marriage from, a young age. Some have to even marry their own family members. Some have to marry multiple husbands because they're so poor and they need multiple people for income, but they can't have too many women pregnant, so they have multiple husbands so they can save money. And it's just a lot of abuse with women and narcissistic behavior from my experience, from what I've seen. It took me, once, people always talk about the game of life, 48 laws of power and all these things and blah, blah, blah. But the real power is the power that lies on men, because a lot of these narcissistic men run the world. And you have to think about it. Narcissists aren't really smart. They're just really confident. They're not smart. They're miserable. They're angry people. They're always upset. They're always finding reasons to be upset. They're always finding reasons to be negative. It's like, I never had been a negative person. I always went after the things that I wanted, regardless of, anything, any challenges. No one could ever tell me, it's because of this that you won't get the job. It's because of that you won't get the job. You're too this, you're too that. I never cared about what people thought about me. I never cared. I always just went and got what I wanted. And when I met the narcissists, they were always in self-doubt. I was always speaking life into them. I was always telling them what they can do. They were always watching me, watching how even when I fell, how I would pick myself up. They were watching me and they were trying their best to break that about me. And once they finally accomplished that, that's when they were like, oh, okay, I'm done now. I wanted to just suck the soul out of you. I wanted to see all that motivation, all that confidence, and I wanted to take it for myself, because I don't have any. I lack it. But the thing is that eventually I got my energy back, and eventually that energy he once took from me will deplete. And it has depleted, because even in the end, they still came back around. It was just too much things that had happened that I was like, hell no. Like, at that point, it wasn't that I hated him, but it was like, hell no. Hell no. Like, hell no. I'm not a ride or die. I'm not going to be your ride or die. I'm not going to put up with that. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, all relationships aren't perfect and just keep going and keep being mistreated and keep thinking that you're going to be happier with someone else. If you haven't been happy by now with all the women you have came across, your soulmate has to be a man. Like, that's really how I feel about narcissists, you guys. And I say this because a lot of these narcissists will sleep with anyone and they say strange things. They say strange things to us women. They say things to us that they wouldn't say to their friends, that they're kissing their ass, that they're sitting there acting like they want a boyfriend. They treat their guy friends like boyfriends. They treat their guy friends like their guy friends are supposed to take care of them as well. So they treat people like this. They treat everyone like this. They even feel as if their guy friends have to be providing something for them, and they're willing to flirt and do anything to get it. I've seen it in action. Like, I've seen narcissists, men that have been, I always hung around a lot of guys, because I have brothers. So being around these narcissists, I've seen how when we, like, for instance, I had an experience where a group of like guy friends, we went out to hang out to this like area where there's like a lot of bars and like a downtown area. And there was this dude who, like, he wanted to talk to me, and he had told me like his condo was right across the street, and it was like these big, like, luxurious $4,000 like condos. And he told me and all my friends, which were majority guys, like, hey, you guys want to come to my condo? Like, you guys want to drink? Like, let's, like, we could party. And I felt comfortable because I'm with a whole bunch of like my guy friends, and I'm like, okay, he's inviting me over, and it's not just like me, like everyone's coming along. So like we end up like all hanging out, and he's like trying to like show off like stuff to me. He's like, oh, like, you want to see my closet? Like, I have a closet just for shoes. Like, and I'm seeing stuff that I never seen before. Like, I didn't grow up having like that type of lifestyle. So when I'm watching these things, I'm not impressed in a sense of, oh, I want to be your friend because you have nice things, or, he's literally just showing me, but I'm not like, oh, like, you're going to change my life. Like, I'm not acting like that because that's your stuff and I really don't care. And it's nice, and it makes you feel like, oh, that's goals, like that's, that's something if you feel like that's what you like, that's what you like. But a lot of narcissists, that's all they think about. Materialistic things, gains. That's what determines to them who they are as a person. They believe that because, see, as human beings, we judge people by their cover. Like, let's be honest, if we see someone, we start assuming things. It's crazy. Like, that's what people do. Until you finally wake up, you've dealt with too many narcissists, you realize you can't judge books by their cover, because a lot of people will look at me and they won't ever believe half the things I've been through. So it's easy to just judge a book and be like, so that's what a lot of people do. And with the narcissist, it's them constantly hiding who they are. And eventually they can't hide that for too long. Even if they take certain traits from you, even if they steal certain traits from you, even if you put them in situations where you gave them things that they can do to improve their lifestyle, or, even if you did certain things from them, they can't keep those things for too long. There's only so much that they can fake. being in that situation, being in that condo and seeing how these narcissists act, they started acting like the narcissist. There's two narcissists in the group, and they started acting like they wanted to take the attention that the guy was giving me because I'm a girl. It's only natural, and there's like a whole bunch of dudes like for him, he invited me over in the first place. So it's only natural that he wanted to talk to me. But the narcissists in the group, they kept trying to get his attention and befriend him like so bad. You could just tell it was like they were clinging onto them, like wanted to make sure that they could leave that situation with a new friend. And even when we left, he never exchanged numbers with him, but he exchanged numbers with me. And the narcissist was asking me for his number. And that's when I was like, wow, like these narcissists, they really, they don't care. And that's really scary to me because lately I've been hearing a lot about, all these, I don't want to judge anyone. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but it's hurtful for me as a woman and the things that I've experienced physically with my body and like just everything I've went through, what a lot of women go through. A lot of men go through abuse too, but when a man can understand what we go through, that's a man with empathy. When there's a man that's, bisexual, like these narcissists, they don't care about our feelings. They're willing to start acting like women. They're willing to start dressing like us. They're willing to start doing sports and taking scholarships from women and doing things like that. It makes me think about the whole world. It makes me think about we've never had a woman president. There's so many things women still are going through. And the narcissists are kind of like, so what? Get over it, blah, 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 blah. That's how narcissists literally think. When you meet good men, they are the kind of men that will literally tell you, I don't know what what you're going through. I don't know how you might feel about it. I don't know how it is to give birth, but I sympathize. I can tell that's a lot, that's when you've met someone who is authentic, when they can actually tell you they don't know, but narcissist men, they don't care about none of those things. This is why a lot of narcissist men have multiple children. They're evil to their children. I know, like, with my ex, he had a kid prior to me, and like anytime I spent time with his daughter and like we did things and he brought his niece along or we went to the beach and things like that, or I would do his daughter's hair and like she would tell me like, oh, my dad's mean, my dad, he yells at me, or I would be like, why is he mean? Because that's when I was like, wait, if your own kids are saying that you're mean, and they're young, I was like, there's something going on. That's when I was like, I questioned it and I told him something about it. And he was just kind of like, she's a kid. Like, how are you going to listen to a kid? You're stupid if you're going to listen to a kid. Like, that's how low down narcissists are. Like, they do not care about their children. They do not care about their children. I have a brother who's a narcissist, and he's been married twice already. He's had many relationships. He talks to me about narcissism because he's a narcissist. He actually talks about this stuff, and he actually tells me, like, don't date someone like me. Like, don't date me because I'm one of the worst. And he has literally told me, like, I've sold dreams, but I've also seen the karma that he's gotten. He's been to jail. He recovered from jail. He still managed to get a really good job and keep the facade going. But his relationships never work out. He's always stuck thinking about all his exes. Like, he acts like he's not stuck on them, but somehow he always manages to talk about them in a bad way. Like, he would always talk about his ex-wife, like, really bad. And when I met her, she was the opposite from what he said. And not only that, but she lived like in a mini mansion, and he was talking bad. I mean, she's a RN, she's a nurse, and she had this like little mini mansion. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, you were saying all these things about her, but she's doing good for herself. Like, wow. So the narcissists, they're never happy. They're not happy people. They're not happy when they're with you. They're not happy when you meet them. They start slowly changing. Like I said, when I dated my ex, like, you'll see the red flags, and I saw the red flags. Like I said, I never was like, too dumb when it came to God. I always, when I felt disrespected or I saw red flags, you guys, like I said, I was the kind of person that was like, I'm not dealing with that. And I would just not talk to that person anymore. That's exactly what I did with the narcissist. But the thing is that he kept texting me for months, like 3 months straight. And he's like, hey, I know like the last time we talked, I know it ended bad, but I just want to take you to dinner. Let me just please take you to dinner. Let's just go on a date. If you don't want me to pick you up, just meet me up there. Meet me up there. I just want to hang out. You don't have to see me after this. I just want to hang out. You don't have to see me after this. Like, I just want to have show you that I'm not that guy you think I am. And he ended up being exactly what I thought he was, but way worse, because I didn't know that people like him existed. I knew they existed as far as my, like my dad. I'm like, oh, my dad's, psycho. But I didn't think, I never really paid attention to my dad, I guess. I guess because it was kind of like, you can't miss something you never had. When I got a hint of that narcissist, I got addicted. I was like, oh, snap. Like, I've never had a guy, not want to leave me alone. I actually thought that was like romantic or something. Like, oh, he doesn't leave me alone. He's chasing me around. He must really want me. Not knowing that he was just another like low down dirty guy like all the rest. Like, he's no different from a guy that's standing in a liquor store, gas station all day, hitting on any and everything because he has nothing else to do. There's no difference between that narcissist to the one, because he doesn't want to change. He doesn't want to change at all. He wants to find someone to take care of him even on his lowest state. He could be at his lowest and he's still going to demand someone to take care of him or take care of her. And they feel like they deserve it on top of that. So, it doesn't matter if it's that type of narcissist. It doesn't matter if it's a narcissist with money, who you believe has everything, because a lot of times they might not have everything, because narcissists are always complaining. They're always trying to find bad situations. They're always trying to be in a place where there's drama. They love the drama. They love when they tell lies and everyone is confused and people are blaming each other. This is why I say I don't trust these narcissists, especially the ones who are on the down low, because those are the messiest type of people. Those are the ones that will have you fighting your best friend and you're wondering why you're fighting your best friend. And I'm saying that for experience because I've had a lot of gay friends, and they were always the ones stirring up arguments between men and women, or, doing things to make women upset with other women. And then once you're all worked up and built up and you're ready to go and argue, or you're like pissed off, you want to confront that person, they're the ones that are jumping in trying to fight the battle for you. And then the other person is even shocked and even more mad because they're like, oh, you brought him to fight me too. Like, they're the ones who are trying to argue. So the narcissists that you deal with, even if they're claiming to, be womanizers. My whole thing to you guys, to the women, because I am a woman, is that you have to watch out for these narcissists, female, males, everyone. When someone is showing you some type of trauma, how did they end up, who did they end up becoming because of their trauma? Ask yourselves that. See, a lot of people go through trauma. We all go through trauma. I went through trauma. You went through trauma. This is why we're interacting. This is why I'm making videos, because we've all been through it. So because of that trauma that we went through, what kind of person did that end up making us? Because to me, it made me strong. Like, I can talk about it and it's like, wow, that's crazy, but it's my story. Events that I remember, it was my story. But did it make me an evil person? Did it make me want to go and do the same thing to others? Have I done the same thing to others? When I left the narcissist, I was angry. I ended up trying to be just like the narcissist because I was angry. And when I started seeing what was happening, I stopped because I was like, wow, I'm angry. I've never been this type of person. It was like contagious. The narcissist is a disease. They come and they try to contaminate you, and they try to put you at your lowest point, so that you can come out of that situation becoming more like them. And they're kind of like, oh yeah, look, I made you this way, but you can't handle how I feel, because everything is about them. Not understanding that people like us with empathy, we don't come out of that situation becoming more evil. We come out of that situation being conquerors and being the person that got on top in the end. If we want to, it's up to us. It really is up to us and what we want, because they never change. In my experience, life, everything, it's a very small world. With these narcissists, what they've done, how they acted with you, they will act like this with the next person. And you think, oh, well, they're happy because they're bouncing from person to person. No, I've seen it happen. I've seen my own family members go through, women in my family that were dealing with a narcissist. I had an uncle that he worked for one of the big news channels, and he still works for one of the big news channels, but he ended up leaving, his wife for a younger girl, got married with her, had children with her, and now they're not together. And I've seen so many relationships of people that have dealt with narcissists, and within, my short lifespan, I've been able to see and calculate every single one of those relationships and see the progression of those people. And most narcissists, they reap what they sow when they leave you, especially if they left you with children and things like that. Their life never gets better. It just gets worse. They think it's going to get better because they keep saying, oh, it's not going to happen to me. It's not going to happen to my kids. It's not going to happen to me. But it always does. Everything you think is not, everything you keep trying not to attract, you will attract. And that's what with all of us. That's with all of us. It's only until we let go that we start receiving our blessings. I've seen, even with my own dad, I have 6 brothers and sisters, you guys, and I have another sister that passed away, and my dad still doesn't really talk about that. Like, he's told me, about my sister dying in the car when she was a baby because of her mom. Like, he blames his ex, and it's kind of like you're blaming her, but you had her living in the street because you didn't want to take care of her, the baby. Like, you did these things because they were sleeping in the car, and that's how she died, because of the gas, because she had the heater running all night. So narcissists do a lot of damage to people. I know I've seen my dad do damage to people, only that my mom was strong, and a lot of us have strong parents, and some of us, don't. My mom is strong in a sense of, she did the best that she could, because even till this day, if you were to talk to my dad, I don't talk to him, but if you were to talk to him, he would tell you that it was my mom who kept me from talking to him and things. He will blame everything on my mom to this day. And these are the type of people that basically a lot of us are getting in relationships with, so that we can end up becoming our parent. We can end up being in their situation instead of living life, going through different relationships like a normal person, and finding someone who's for you, and if you don't, being okay with it. But we put so much want into what we want, in which the narcissist gives us this illusion, and we hang on to it, and we don't want to let go, and we want to believe that they're this way when they're not. I wanted to believe my dad was one way, and he wasn't, and he's still not that way. His wife, my dad remarried, and he doesn't have any children with his new wife, but she has children from her past relationship, and he treats her children like his own, but doesn't take care of any of his children. And a lot of my brothers and sisters, besides 2 of my brothers, all my other siblings are my half siblings. We all have different moms. So I have 2 twin sisters, an older sister and an older brother, and they all have different moms. So and they don't have a relationship with the narcissist. So a lot of these narcissists that now, who have multiple kids, and they keep talking about, oh, I take care of my kid, I do this. Trust me, it's not going to be like that forever. No, eventually, they're going to get worse and worse. They're going to be, in bad situations, living with their parents. They're going to become that pervert uncle that is always at your grandmother's house. Like, they're going to become that old uncle who is like always angry, always bitter, always talking about their past. My dad's brother, his children, my cousins, like he's treated my cousin like his daughter like crap, but treats his son like everything, because his son is narcissistic just like him. He's starting to have multiple kids just like him. But yet, when his daughter asked him for some money, he started calling her all kind of bitches and like all kind of names, all because she asked him for money, and then she got mad and was like, you never took care of me. Like, my mom took care of me. You didn't even raise me. And he's like, be quiet. Like, you always knew who I was. Like, it's not like you didn't know who I was, And she's kind of like, yeah, I knew who you were, but you were never around. So these narcissists, it never gets better with them. They end up drinking, becoming alcoholics. doing drugs. A lot of them end up just being the angriest person. You know, as soon as they get in their car and they're driving, they're angry, they're cussing at everyone on the road. When they're putting that lovey-dovey act, it's all an act. They are never happy, you guys. I've seen it happen too many times. They always end up miserable. And yes, they sell a lot of dreams. And that is what they do with their remainder of their life before they pass away, is they keep reminiscing about their past. When you meet the narcissist, they're reminiscing about their past. That they live in the past and try to live in the moment at the same time. They live in the moment, but then they're living in the past because they don't change anything and they expect different results. But you can't give someone empathy when they don't feel any. When all they think about is hurting others or doing things behind their back and being sneaky and thinking they're getting one over on you, or, you know, getting off on doing something that's super disrespectful, like just to do it, just for the fun of it. These are just sick people. They're really sick people, you guys, and they're never happy. And by knowing this, you should live your fullest life. You should live your fullest life. And trust me, they're always watching. So guess what? It's a small world after all. One day, they will see you, and they will see that they messed something up that was really good. Every narcissist always comes, you know, back around, and they always come back to good supply because they remember how that supply treated them. They think because they're getting supply from different people that they're always going to get that type of supply, but it's not happening. And it's not happening coming into 2020 in the world that we're living. It's not happening anymore. More people are becoming narcissistic as well. So chances are they'll just go ahead and bump into another narcissist, and they'll both be miserable together, you know, while you're living your life being happy. So that's my experience, you guys. I hope that these stories, these experiences can help you guys achieve just a sense of freedom, a sense of relief, a sense of knowing that it never gets good for these people. They're never happy. They're never satisfied. Everything gets really old to them. They'll have nightmares every night. I remember so many times a narcissist like talking in their sleep, or like screaming, or acting like they're choking someone, like sleepwalking. These people are insane, you guys. So I rambled on for like 30 minutes straight. It's okay. I was drinking my coffee this morning, but I wanted to just talk to you guys really quick, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Let me know if there's anything you guys want me to talk about or cover. I feel like I've covered a lot of topics by now, and I think that, you know, for the most part, I just want to make enough content where, you know, people can go over certain things and can relate. So leave your comments down below. If you guys haven't subscribed to my channel, subscribe so you guys can receive new videos and like notifications and stuff like that. And I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Bye.